Okay. Hello, my name is Erin, and this will be my persuasive speech called Raising the Minimum Wage. Okay. Okay. Imagine working 40 hours a week every month and still not be able to afford food, rent, or medicine. This is the harsh reality for millions of Americans earning the federal minimum wage of just $7.25 an hour, a number that has remained unchanged since 2009. According to the Economic Policy Institute, full-time minimum wage workers earn just $15 or $15,080 per year, which is well below the federal poverty line for a family of two. Minimum wage should not mean minimum dignity. We have a moral and economic obligation to ensure that full-time work means a life above poverty. Today, I will show you why the current minimum wage is outdated and harmful, explain how raising it would improve lives and the economy, and tell you exactly how you can help make it happen. As I briefly mentioned before, the current minimum wage is not enough to survive because the federal minimum wage has not kept up with inflation. In real dollars, today's $7.25 is worth less than the minimum wage in 1968. According to Pew Research, if the 1968 minimum wage had kept pace with inflation and productivity, it would be well over $24 per hour today. It's also because working full time doesn't mean escaping poverty. A 2021 study by the Congressional Budget Office, also known as CBO, shows that someone working full time for merely $7.25 per hour can't afford basic necessities in any US state. Meanwhile, the cost of living, housing, food, transportation keeps climbing. Because of this, it's not uncommon to see even tipped workers suffer. In many states, the tipped wage is just merely $2.13 per hour. The National Employment Law Project notes that this leaves workers vulnerable to harassment, financial instability, and extreme economic insecurity. Okay. Let's move on to the benefits of raising the minimum wage and how it helps workers and boosts the economy. As shown in the slide, it lifts millions out of poverty. A CBO report estimates that raising the federal minimum wage to $15 by 2025, it would lift 17 million workers' wages and bring around 900,000 or 900,000 people out of poverty. It also stimulates the economy. According to the Center of American Progress, low-wage workers tend to spend their earnings quickly on essential goods and services, injecting money back into local businesses and communities. It also reduces reliance on government aid. When people earn more, they need less public assistance. A study by the University of California, Berkeley, found that low wages cost taxpayers over $150 billion annually in public support from working families. Earning money is like receiving a reward. The higher the pay, the higher one's desire is to do more, to work harder, which ultimately leads to a boost in both the economy and the workers' morale and productivity. Now, common arguments from people regarding the opposition of raising the minimum wage are overblown. Here are some of them and why they are wrong. It will cause job losses. Okay, this is the most common argument, and it's largely unfounded. According to a 2021 analysis by the Economic Policy Institute, over 24 states and cities that raised the minimum wage saw either job growth or no statistically significant job losses. Small businesses can't afford it. Well, businesses benefit from reduced employee turnover and higher morale. A study from the Harvard Business Review found that higher wages are linked to improved productivity and lower training costs. And lastly, it will cause inflation or inflation. Uh, Prices may rise slightly, but not drastically. Researchers from the University of Massachusetts found that a 10% increase in the minimum wage leads to less than a 0.4% increase in food prices, a small price to pay for a more equitable economy. Now that we've went through this information, let's talk about how you can help. A call to action, you can say. You can contact your legislators, urge them to support the Raise the Wage Act or similar legislation in your state. Call, write, or email. These actions matter. You can support businesses that pay fair wages. Look for companies that voluntarily pay a living wage and show them your support. And you can also vote with this issue in mind. Your vote helps decide who will represent your values, including economic justice. Imagine a country where work truly pays, where people aren't forced to choose between paying rent and feeding their kids. That's not just a dream. It's a policy decision, and a pretty darn good one at that if you ask me. Today, I've shown you that the minimum wage in America is dangerously outdated, that raising it would lift millions out of poverty, and that many of the arguments against it simply don't hold up under scrutiny. More importantly, or most importantly, I've given you clear steps that you can take to help create a future where full-time work leads to a full, dignified life. Let's stop tolerating a system that pays people less than they need to live. Let's raise the minimum wage. Thank you for listening.